welcome to the Jumpstart Conference 2019. This conference, as you are aware, is for national service personnel. It is for people who are on the Nation Builders Corps. It is for people who have just started their work. It is also for people who are not on permanent government or public sector work, or people who are not on permanent work at all. So if you are here, it is because you have heard our adverts, you have seen our advertisement, you have bought a ticket to participate in this. Indeed, by the time we finish this conference, your life will not be the same in the unfolding presentations we are going to do. So the conference is going to be in 3 models. The first model is to look at how you can minimize expenditure and improve savings. The second model is to look at how and where you should invest those savings. And the third model will help you to be able to find a job as soon as your contract, your national service is over. So this is the outline of the entire presentations we are going to do to you. So this video, those of you watching the video version, we are going to make this in 3 hours, but we will put it in models so you can break once in a while to take some water. So you are welcome, and stay throughout, watch everything, and your life will never be the same. Thank you. We are starting with the first model. The first model is to help you minimize your expenditure and be able to save more. You can't save more, you can't minimize your expenditure unless you have a budget. Everybody must have a budget. Everybody who earns some income. Even if your income earning ability is limitless, you still need a budget. So a budget is one of the ways to minimize expenditure. A budget is one of the ways to minimize your expenditure. But then it is not just having the budget, it is following through what is in the budget. But for you, your income is limited. Those of you here, your budget, your money is within 559 to 1,000 Ghana cedis. So it is on this basis your budget will pick. So, madam, please share the budget template to everybody. All right. Everybody should have this budget template. Do you all have one? All right. So please start at the top right-hand corner. At the top right-hand corner, write the total amount of money you earn at the end of each month here. Write the total amount you earn here. And then throughout this, write all the things you spend your money on. One of them is your rent. One of them is utilities. Another is food. Another is phone credit and all that stuff. And transportation as well. Anything you spend your money on, write it in. We are doing this budget in order to ensure that everything you spend in fits into the money you earn. If not, you are heading towards crashing the wall. All right, so now, I want us to go through this budgeting one by one. For us, we have proposed an amount of 30 to 50 Ghana cedis for your rent. Why? Because if you budget more than 50 Ghana cedis, it will affect all your other items on the expenditure, which will blow above your monthly income. So as much as possible, you need to fit it into this amount. And in Ghana, in Tamale, where we are doing this conference, you can get a room to hire at this rate. Yes, it's possible you can get a room to hire at this rate. Then number 2 is for you to budget on your utilities. Number 3, budget on feeding. Number 4, transportation. Number 5, clothing. 6, airtime and internet. 7, personal hygiene and home hygiene products. 8, hairdressing. In fact, when you come to clothing, you need to budget for clothing that fits into your humble income. If you budget far more, like I mentioned, for that of the accommodation, you are likely to suffer because you will not be able to balance your income, balance your budget. So here, there are prominent people in society. One of them is Reverend Mensa Otabil. When he was growing up like you guys, he will buy 3 khaki trousers, like our man is wearing over here. He will buy 3 white shirts. He gets a watch, he gets a necktie, and he gets a very strong belt with a shoe. So he uses this for 3 years because he knows what he's aiming at. Doing this, he's able to fit all other things he spends money on into the minimum budget, minimum income he earns at the end of the month. Now, when you come here, when you come to feeding, it is advised that you buy everything of yours in bulk. Buy your foodstuff in bulk and cook. Cook your food and eat. If you are going to rely on buying breakfast, buying lunch, and buying dinner, you will not be able to fit your money, to fit your expenses within your budget. Another is accommodation. When it comes to accommodation, I advise you to, first of all, check with your office to find out if they can give you free accommodation. If you can't get free accommodation, you can check with your superior if the person can accommodate you in his or her house where you wouldn't need to pay for accommodation. The next is if you have to pay for your room. Rent a room very close to where you work. Rent a room very close to where you do your national service. The next is that you have to ensure that you rent a house that has a house that has toilet facilities. If you don't do that, you are going to have to pay money to go to public toilets, which will cost a lot of money, and your meager allowance will not be able to accommodate this. So you need to watch out. The others are, you don't have to furnish your room in any way. You are now growing. You don't need to furnish it. If you have a laptop, it is enough to have all your entertainment and everything inside. Yes. You don't have to buy a TV. You have to go and buy a big mattress. You buy a big bed. No. You don't even have money to do that. Now, when you budget for all of these, the template we have provided for you, our proposition is this: 50 cedis for accommodation, utilities, and all those things comes to a total of 440 Ghana cedis. So if you're able to come up with this, the total amount available for you would be 119 Ghana cedis every month. 119 Ghana cedis every month that you will have as your surplus money. You have spent in eating, you have spent money to pay for accommodation and all those, but you still have 119. Indeed, I know this is small, but however, it is significant achievement if you are able to save 119 cedis at the end of each month. Those people who work and even earn more money than you, most people end up in the month with lots of debts. Indeed, most people end up with lots of debt. So if you end up with 119, it means that you have done significantly well. But this is the bombshell. I want to tell you that as soon as you receive your letter to do national service, NAPCO, or even you are a fresh worker, you just received your letter to start work, this is what I advise you to do. Take your independence from your parents. When you take your independence from your parents, this helps you a lot to be able to build on yourself. It gives you confidence. It gives you ability to take control of your life. It doesn't mean they will not have oversight over you. They will have. But then the day-to-day, how you eat, how you drink, when you sleep, when you get up, that one now is in your hands. And then your choices are now in your hands to be able to make the life the way you want it to be. later in this conference, later in the second model, I will show you some of the importance and the reasons why you need to take away your independence. But for now, all these expenses we have listed, these are expenses that gets you to live alone. Because if you are living with your parents, you wouldn't have to pay accommodation, you wouldn't have to pay for feeding, you wouldn't have to pay for so many things. In fact, almost all of this, except perhaps for transportation to your work. So, this alone has set you up to live independently. All right, so let's come to this. Tips to help you live on a budget. Tips to help you improve on your savings and be able to get more money at the end of your national service or at the end of your contract so you can invest it meaningful somewhere. Now, the first one is this. Do not assume responsibilities too early. And this, I want you to please open up your ears and open up your brains very well. Most often, many parents help their children to squander whatever monies they make at the beginning of their careers. Because of that, they squeeze out valuable amounts of money that is supposed to be used to invest back in themselves and grow. At this stage, at this age, at this time of your life, you are merely, let me call you a seedling. A seedling is what farmers use to sow that grows up, make more food for you and for the economy to feed on. If you, a young person now growing up, I'm referring to you being a seedling. If you take up more responsibilities or your parents are not aware they're supposed to give you some protection and they help you, a seedling, to spend more on them and to spend more on yourself in irrelevant things, it means that you are killing yourself as a seedling. What do I mean by that? If you start earning an allowance of, say, 1,000 cedis at the end of the month, and you say you want to help your mom, you want to help your dad, or you want to help your guardian, because now you are able to earn some money, and when the month ends, you are supposed to part out something to take care of the house. That is assuming responsibility. Or as soon as you begin earning some allowance, you say that, okay, now you are going to take care of half of what your family is doing, then the rest the family can, or you contribute money to support the family or contribute money, support your siblings. No, do not do this at this time. Remember, we are coming from a background where we said they expect you, wise parents expect you, save money, minimize expenditure, save money. So you are able to invest this money in yourself. So you build your foundation, which makes you resilient, makes you financially independent, in order that you are able to stop relying on them for money any longer. Then over time, you are able to support them, perhaps when they are getting older. It is even at that time, they will appreciate more. They will appreciate you. When you are supporting them, they are weak, they are not able to do most things, but you are doing it for them, you are buying things for them, and then you are taking care of them. That's the support they will need at that time. And for now, remember some 6 months away, you were in school. They were paying almost everything for you. So because you started earning allowance, you are saying you want to now begin taking care of them? No. So as parents who will be watching this video, who are in this conference, I want you to know that at that stage of their lives, they need a lot of protection. When you plant a seed, you give it water, you try to make the environment so aerated so that that seed is able to germinate. And when the seed germinates, that is the time it needs more of your protection. So that seed, that plant is able to grow up now to bear fruits. So your ward, your child, you watching me right now, you in this conference right now, you are now the seed. You have just germinated. So you need maximum protection. You don't need things that take away water from you. You don't need things that take away your money from you. You need things that will be able to help you rather to protect, preserve all the minimum money you are making. So you are able now get more invest back in yourself so you become robust. You are able to earn money over a few years, then you can now support back. So, having said all of this, when they understand that you need to keep your money and invest it and save it somewhere, that you yourself need to know that you are not supposed to do things that gets you spend all your money on frivolous things. Remember now, you're even living alone. So you have many choices to make. Some of you go doing things like, here is called Yayi, same wear. There is this occasion, a wedding, funeral, you are supposed to wear the same type of clothing and move around. Come on. If your parents give you independence and you do this, what are you telling them? You're telling them you don't know the use of your money. The next thing is paying tithe or zakat. Look, no matter how religious you are, I want you to know that you are not yet earning any salary. It's not regular. So if you're earning allowance, why will you want to pay tithe or pay zakat? No, don't do this at this time. When you begin earning more money, you can do this. This is not compulsory for you now. The next is contribution for parties. Some of you are here as soon as you begin your national service or you begin your work. At the end of the year, you say you are going to contribute and do party. This is not for you. Remember, you are on a budget. The next ones are, some of you say you want to contest and become executives of your district or your region. It is not bad to do, but I would advise you that if it is not your passion, if it is not something you wish to take up in future, drop it. You don't have to do this. Drop it. But if it's something you have planned over the years, you may even get support from your parents to do it because they are building you up to get experience so in future you can take it up. But if you have not calculated this, then you have to drop this. Another is to be productive at your workplace. I said tips to help you minimize expenditure and improve your savings. So here, being productive at your workplace, supporting your supervisor, supporting your office to be more productive is indirectly going to put some money into your pocket. What do I mean? If I am your supervisor and you come to work as early as possible, and you support me, take notes, support me, write reports, support me, do many of the chores I do in the office, it leaves me with lots of time to be able to create more things for the office. So indirectly, it tells me that because of the support you are giving me, when I'm to take lunch, I have to get lunch for you. When I'm going home, I'll give you lift to the house. If I'm coming to work, I'll pick you, we'll come to work. So in this, you are saving money from lunch, you are saving money, transportation. In fact, at the weekends, like I do mostly for those who do work with me and those who do service with me, I will give you some tip to get you through the weekend. And this alone will help you to save a lot of money. If you are one attending this conference from now onwards to know, look out for something like this. Be very productive. Be very, very productive in your office. Support your boss to be productive, and he will also support you to save more money from your budget. Now, some of the offices, like when I used to be in the government work, when I used to be in public service, all the field officers, all the national service and interns who were with me, once in a while, we go out to the field and I pay them some allowance. So if in most government departments, it is usual that when you are going out with your superior officer, you get some tip for lunch, you get some allowance for accommodation and other things. This money is going to be the difference between you and the next service person who didn't come to this workshop. Because when you take this money, most often, because you are with me, I will likely give you lunch in the field, pay for your accommodation. So the money you took, virtually, you have to keep everything. When you get back home, go and save it. When you add it to the 119 we talked about, over time, it's going to be a lot of money for you. You need not spend this, no matter the pressure. In fact, it is given for accommodation, it is given for feeding. So if you follow others who wouldn't pay for accommodation and feeding, take and try to get accommodation and feeding that fits within that allowance you've taken, and then you can make some savings out of that. Yeah, you can make some savings out of that. Other areas that will help you to be able to improve your savings is for you to be very, very protective of yourself. Wear protective clothing. You have to do medical examination of you and a proposed boyfriend or girlfriend you are going to start relationship with. This is important because at this stage, you are likely entering into this relationship hoping for marriage. So you don't have to take chances. There is something we call medical poverty. As soon as you go into a relationship that is turning into marriage and your partner happens to be incompatible with you, there are children you will give birth to, and these children will very likely be SS. I mean, children who fall sick most of the time. So these children, you almost have to take them to hospital and pay medical expenses. So in these medical expenses, over time, your savings are going to go away. Over time, you will begin to sell some of your properties to pay for medical expenses, and over time, you are going to be in debt. So your family is going to be poor because you didn't take the right decisions when you were picking a partner for yourself. Not necessarily the partner you picked, but refusing to go and do medical exams to know where your health is. This is the point I'm making. Now, in most public offices, there are situations where you get to the office and there is virtually nothing to do. It is not that there's nothing to do, but there are no resources, there are no logistics for you to do that work. So as a service person, later when we go into the second model, you will see areas you can use your time. You will see where you can invest your time and resources so you can get more money. So if you know this scenario, dormant office scenarios popping up during your service or during your work life, take advantage of this. Use it to fuel your passion. Use it to build your skills. And that time will be well spent. Another is, many people, as soon as they begin their national service or they begin working afresh, they assume that, where I am working, money comes into my hand. I have to use it to become rich. No. Because the budget, the money you are paid is limited, there's no way you can make loss of riches from a paid job. It can't happen that way. So all you need to do is be content with the salary or the allowance you earn at the end of the month. Whatever resources they give you to use it for work, use it for work. Don't have any, appetite in wanting to dip your hand where you are not supposed to dip. You run yourself into trouble. And as a young person, that is the last thing you want to do for your life. Another is home raging syndrome. As a young person, in Ghana and in most countries, the tendency for people to work in their home regions is very high. As a home region, I mean, this is northern region of Ghana. You are coming from this region, perhaps you are in Dagomba, you are working in Tamale. Your hometown is Tamale. So you are living here, even if you decided to go and rent a room very close to your house, but you are still living in your region. So the tendencies are that in the next morning, there's a funeral. They call you, please go to this village, tell your uncles that there's a funeral. The next morning, it is wedding. They say, go to this place, A, B, C, D, and tell them that it is wedding. The next day, it is naming ceremony. So all these days, you are missing work or you're coming to work very late. Remember, when you are late, you become ineffective. Eventually, your director, your supervisor becomes fed up with you and you lose the advantages you would have earned if he had your trust. Remember, we said if you are working very hard, supporting, and you are productive, you are likely going to earn some shadows in your office and you will earn some money, or your supervisor will take up some responsibilities over you and it will allow you to save more money. So if in the first place you don't come to work early, you are not productive and blah, 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 it means that you are going to lose out on that. And it is going to affect you further because you are not likely going to be shown some of the tricks that the old guns have used to keep working up to this point. You are not going to be shown how other departments can recruit you. You are not going to be given networks, and you are just going to lose out a lot. So you need to watch out on home region syndrome. So when you're able to make some money from the field, added to being your tight budget, what you need to do is to save the money in a recognized bank. If I say recognized bank, do not do what they call around this part of the country, susu. Or so you go and put it, you say you are 10 national service people or you are 10 workers, so you are going to contribute money. This month, I'll contribute 20 to 200, she will contribute 200, it is 1,000. So you give it to one person, the next month is you. No. So many people, whilst doing their service with me, I know they've lost money here. Don't do that. You don't even have money to lose. You have to gain. You don't have money. You don't have to lose anything. Keep the money in the bank, even if it is one Ghana city. The next is for you to ensure that you maximize the use of all available opportunities during your service within the year. When you maximize all the available opportunities, sticking to your budget, minimizing the expenses in transportation, taking advantage of the money earning opportunities in your office, I expect you to be able to minimize your expenditure and be able to save minimum of 10,000 Ghana cedis. This is just around $2,000. You should be able to save this. People who have done their national service with me, people who have done their work with me, they have been able perhaps to even save more than this amount. So you can do that. You can do that. Thank you so much. This is the end of Model 1.